it's Natalia at Divinity Inspires. I'm bringing in the horoscopes today for the lunar eclipse in Virgo. If you're interested in getting to know more about what is going to be released for you according to your rising sign, stay tuned and check out the timestamps below. If you can, please like and subscribe. It really helps support the channel. And let's get into this. And I'm so grateful. Let's set that intention. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And as always, if it's for you, it'll make sense. And if it's not, it won't resonate. And just follow your intuition. Let's pull this up here, March 13th at 11:54. Lunar eclipse in Virgo at 23 degrees. What vibrationally is occurring at this time is our acts of service to a community that come from the skills and the knowledge that we are incorporating to be diligent to our mindful routines. These themes are going to have a let go. Where have we been attached to certain patterns of action for the goal of perfection that is no longer serving us? An example of where this might be showing up in your life. This could be, let's say an individual wakes up and they have a very specific routine of how they do things. Routines help us function, they keep us grounded and in order. Chop wood, reach enlightenment, chop wood. It's the balance between being on earth and being of service and still being connected to your spiritual path, but being here, right? So our routines do support a structure, so we have a way to maintain order. But what happens when we've been so focused on maintaining that order that we are attached to the systems, to the schedules, to the routines that doesn't allow us to essentially and metaphorically trim the rose bushes to allow for new growth. So this lunar eclipse is actually going to be very important for individuals with Pisces and Virgo placements, as well as individuals with Gemini placements. Degree-wise, if you have it between 19 degrees to 26 degrees, during this time, the intensity of letting your schedules, letting these systems become more flexible. There is a routine to how we do things, but here, when we show surrender to a higher source, we can allow for something greater to come in. And this eclipse is bringing a mindfulness that abundance, opportunity, and blessings don't happen in our perfect mindset. In our ideal and theoretical world, everything happens in accordance to an XYZ. And it does, but not to the extent that the human mind thinks. So for each individual, I've prepared some horoscopes based on your rising sign of what to expect essentially is going to be adjusted for you during this time. So let's start by looking here. Whew, we got a lot to go, so buckle in, and I will put timestamps in the area below. But starting with the Aries Risings. So Virgo is going to affect your 6th house of health, daily routines, work, and service. This is purely the actual house it's placed in. What you're going to be focusing on is refining your habits, prioritizing how you trust the process, instead of needing to overly analyze your place in the balance. They're showing that the routines you've been flowing to not maybe serving the highest form of abundance or control. So recognizing if in your health routines you need to scale back to be a little bit more manageable and flexible with what you're doing, so you're not overly pushing a routine that might not serve you. And that's directly the theme of what we're going to be seeing. But for Taurus risings, this eclipse, lunar eclipse releasing, is going to happen in your 5th house of dating. So Taurus risings, when it comes to love, you might be having some areas where you're being asked to let go of certain things surrounding what you thought a certain relationship was supposed to bring, or a certain way that you thought being dated would be. There might be some very intense realizations specifically around breakthroughs in how you express yourself when you're dating someone, how you present that authenticity, and how you share more of your individuality with someone who is actually being present and is remembering the details about you and the acts of service. This lunation could be It could go quite a few ways for you in regards to if you're with a partner who is actually showing acts of service, consideration as the highest form of love, then the communication might be getting a bit more refined as we're going into a Mercury retrograde the next day. But if you are in a relationship that's trying to build itself, but it's in the dating phases and the partner is not showing reciprocity of valuing your light and valuing your needs for care, maintenance, style, paying attention to the way you put things together, this could be a time where you're being asked to let go of a relationship as well, because it's not strong enough to go through the dating period and move towards a committed standard structure. So that's maybe some hard medicine, but it's important for you to sit with that before you push yourself in a direction that might not be for you. And let's move to Gemini Risings. So for Gemini Risings, you're going to have this eclipse happening in your 4th house. So essentially, shifts with your home and family life. This can be with our own sense of security in our personal life. How do you let go of the old attachments you have to your inner world? It's almost like if you've been living in a room for a long time and haven't changed the decor, and you've been so attached to the old versions of you, like your baby pictures, the way that like your family's designed everything, but you have grown into a new person. In some area, you're being asked to say, where is it that I don't want to be stagnant in this space? I need to have communication about what I'm thinking and what needs to be adjusted here, releasing perfection, but also acknowledging where is it that we need to have some change, right? So that's for Gemini Risings. And then for Cancer Risings, this is going to happen in your 3rd house of communication. So essentially, you will likely be having a lot of important talks with people on this day, and we will go into this Mercury retrograde the next day. So, and that will last for 3 weeks. So the conversations you have on March 13th will likely carry into very big themes for Cancer Risings in the 3 weeks to come during this eclipse season. Now, Cancer Risings, your teaching, writing, expression of your thoughts. This could be if you're someone who writes music, you're expressing yourself a bit more clearly, bringing in the value of some structure here. If you've done, let's say, the polarities of like you've gone so deeply towards the flow, but it's also important for us to come back into a place of groundedness while not being so attached. If you can express those qualities, this lunar eclipse might require you to come back and look at where you might be hyper-focused in perfection of writing and communication, and also where it is that you can still honor having a structure without being attached to it and flexible. And then for Leo risings, you will have this happening in your 2nd house. So this lunar eclipse will affect you on a way that we'll be considering self-worth and how you honor your sense of individuality without maybe judging yourself for not having enough or being where you think you need to be considered valuable. This could be a really important time for you to show deeper compassion in your routines with your health, that sometimes we want to exercise and push ourselves and show the amount of worth and presentation and the effort we put into our bodies. That's very strong for Leo risings with that strong sense of presence. But there's also times where mental health has to be prioritized over physical efforts. If you're someone who pushes through pain quite a bit with a Leo rising, in your 2nd house of resources, body attunement, self-care, more so to like physical sensation and leisure in the body, this is probably a good time for you to take a seat and rest. And for our Virgo risings are going to have this very clearly affecting them in their 1st house of self-identity. So for you, Virgo risings, your appearances, the way that you show style into the world, the way that you analyze different parts of yourself and create beauty, but also releasing judgments on the body sometimes dysmorphia over too much information about the right way to look or the right way to be, definitely something that might come up here to be released, and to know that following your own connection to your health and your intuition for your body, it might be different from everyone else's, but your willingness to stand and evaluate yourself as someone who is whole and made of many parts, and accept all pieces of them, even if they can or cannot be perceived by others. That is going to be a big dose of medicine for the Virgo rising. So definitely sit with that. It might be a time to like get maybe a bit more creative with how you communicate your persona to the world. This could be that Virgo risings maybe want to post something during this time, just like reevaluating and expressing yourself, releasing old images or old patterns. And then Libra risings. So this eclipse is happening in your 12th house. And unless you have like prominent 12th house placements, you might not feel this eclipse as much as other people, but more of a undertone of collective thoughts. This could show up for Libra risings as their friends having conversations about hidden thoughts or topics that are telepathically passed through the psychic space between friends. If there's things that have made you uncomfortable in the past and you need to acknowledge them or express them to the people close to you, this is more so not really a communicative time for Libra risings. This is a very like into the roots, into the subliminal spaces, rest into like meditations time. It's not too much outwards. But for you, if your meditation practice is able to help you focus on sending forgiveness to others in conversations that you have not had or are meant to have in divine timing, this would be a good time to do so. And then for Scorpio risings, this eclipse is going to happen in your 11th house of community, networking, future goals, and more like community friendships. But as it is a lunar eclipse, this is a release. So letting go of outdated group affiliations, letting go of attachments to certain communities. This is important because, and I share this also as a Scorpio rising for those who are tuned in right now, that at this time, if you're needing to trim down your social media, and I don't mean like if you're a creative person to stop being creative. What I'm saying is the communities you see, the people that you see right now, creating a parameter of why you feel connected to that person on a social level. And if that person is actually supporting your growth and is involved and participates in community exchange with you. Like, it's a time to really look at things a bit more clearly and recognize like how much weight are we putting towards having people participate with us? How much weight are we putting towards wanting to be in social conversations with others who don't really invest the same level? And that also means, do these individuals share the same vision for a future as you do? Because if they don't, it's not that we can't share and maintain friendships, but how much energy are we realistically trying to feed into something that isn't going to grow? And that would be what I'd say is important for the Scorpio risings. Just be intentional in the community you keep and really know why the people who are in your life are there. For Sagittarius risings, this is going to happen in your 10th house of career and public image and legacy. So big career shifts. There might be some discomfort, but I'm seeing it as like deeper revelations about what we want to do professionally and releasing where you've been attached to a certain structure that specifically in like your career life. Maybe this could be your routines, your schedules, your timelines that depend on like your finances or how you want to present your work to the world as a healer, because Virgo is a healer. It is an important time for you to really give yourself time to step into the light of your healing path and really surrender where in your profession, if you are feeling like you are being held back by like your group or the world around you, where is it you're being asked for greater autonomy in yourself? Where can you have more self-trust and show that the universe, like, I trust if I surrender this space within my career, something bigger is going to step in for me. But that's big for getting yourself in alignment with like your sense of creative self and how you help and are service to others. Because 10th house career paths for Sagittarius risings, very much being of service to your community is necessary from a place of skill. So if you're being impeded there, that's going to be a big effect. And a big releasing too. This could be a block moving out for you. Capricorn risings, you are being asked to recognize where you're letting go of outdated beliefs around travel, law. The systems themselves can change, and your place within the world and its traditional structures can give you the opportunity to let go and have more freedom for yourself, and an area where you can be less perfection oriented about how you get from A to B, and allowing for there to be a window of trust, releasing self-criticism over past accomplishments or failures / mistakes, and looking at those as learning lessons for yourself. There is nothing to fear when it comes to allowing ourselves to trust, but it is that we have to surrender where we've been so focused on achieving something that only aligns when it's divine timing. This is an important time for you to release an attachment to your perfections, as well as to give space for something new to come in. If there's an obsession with how you create order in your life, and during this time you are being asked to let go of it, where is it that you can show trust within your community by getting out of Dodge? Go on a mini little trip. Give yourself the space. Okay. Now, Aquarius risings, this is going to be happening in your 8th house. So financial partnerships, recognizing if individuals are playing equal parts in the real estate, finances, resource investment, management of time to create abundance when you're in a shared structure with someone. This can be a time for you to really recognize where in your finances you're helping align a partnership, and where in your choices financially you are sinking a partnership, and where you have to make sacrifices to be able to grow forward, knowing that more is going to come. You have to be able to show trust that more is coming. This could also be a time where individuals could be working with inheritances. So it doesn't have to always indicate that there's death. It can indicate that someone is being able to share more abundance with you. And so there's like a release of pressure on the financial exchanges where you have more to work with. So this can be a gift. Now, for the last rising sign, we're going to have Pisces. So Pisces rising, this lunar eclipse is going to happen in your 7th house. So in your relationships, where is it that we are truly seeing partnership, community building? This can also be business partnerships too, but you're seeing a transparency with the person you are with. And 7th house lunar eclipses can be very intense, because at times it can mean you have to let go of something for it to grow better. And when it has to do with our partnership sector, not the 5th house, our dating sector, and like light endings, the 7th house is really like our marriage sector. So during Venus retrograde for Pisces risings, if you are moving through adjusting things in your marriage, and you're needing to give yourself more permission to let go and be of service to yourself first, instead of trying to overly appease or bend to your partner if they are critiquing you or needing too many adjustments from what you can give, you can only show up for someone else at the level to which you can show up for you. So in this area in life, if you have to let go of a very important relationship and let yourself take maybe a break here to understand, are we going to move through this, or do we need to have the space necessary to reevaluate our individual needs? Because Venus retrograde Aries and this like Pisces risings with the lunar eclipse in Virgo in your house of relationships, this is some big work surrounding commitment. And if you want to continue with a partner during eclipses and Venus retrogrades, double this time, we have bigger releasings that are healing karma that's coming from many other lifetimes, and relationships that are built on karmic patterns that no longer serve our habits and daily routines in this life. If it's time for them to be released, they will go. And it's okay to release that. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, and it can be something that comes back again in another form. I have definitely seen that. As previously, a lunar eclipse in my 7th house in Taurus had to do with a relationship needing to end, which then re-sparked itself a year and a half later and has built itself stronger. So that can also be the case for you dealing with a lunar eclipse in the 7th house during a Venus retrograde. Now, as a last part here, I just wanted to share that all of these horoscopes are more so dependent on your rising sign and do not take into account the full aspects of your chart and your individual soul cycles, as well as karmic lessons, numerology, and many other pieces that bring together the fullness of who we are as a snapshot of an experience. I am a cosmic navigator. I use the charts to be able to drive and guide the ships the way through the night when we're going through the rough seas. So whether that be emotional, mental, or spiritual, that is something that's called me to help support others. And if you're interested in learning more about your chart, what to expect in this next month and a half between eclipse season, how you're going to be working through your own lessons, partnership, love, and career, you can book a session with me at the Chakra Shack on Mondays from 2 to 6 p.m. and from Saturday with my new hours from 12 to 5 p.m. And I am available at Divinity Inspires on Instagram, as well as at the Rise by the Stars podcast. And if you can, like or subscribe, click the button below and give me a like and a comment of what your rising sign is and what you feel is coming up for you. But thank you for being here with me, and I wish you well in your journey.